For I am able. My mind is sharp and my heart it is bold. The older my body grows, each passing season shows that I am still able.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. From the secret police to the Dai Li, this is the Zhanhu Guide.
In the midst of war, I breathe fire.
The Zhanhu is a unique hybrid from Year 3. They're labeled as a dodge specialist. They've got a lot of things going for them. Let's dive right into that. We'll get started with their chains. Chains are pretty simple. Light, 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 heavy, heavy, light, heavy, heavy. Pretty basic. That's not where it ends. All finishers, light and heavy, are unblockable. But you knew that. You know what Zhanhu is. You've been hit by them, you play them. That's how it is. Zhanhu's able to chain from normal attacks to zone attacks to dodge attacks, all right after each other, so you're not limited to your 2-hit chains. Now, Zhanhu's still not a very complicated hero. With all these things, and how much I praise the hero, he's still not that complex, and you do have to try your best to counter-read. There are some attacks you just don't do a lot. Zone attack is one of them. You shouldn't do a lot of zones. It's a very easy to read thing. It's easy to react to, easy to block. It doesn't help you much. Use it sparingly. One important thing about Zhanhu is your directions of your attacks. Unfortunately, as it stands, as I'm making this video, his right heavy finisher still doesn't track well. It has very nilch tracking. It's pretty bad. His top one has okay tracking, but his left one, oh, the left one is really, really good. It's this big, unblockable arc around you. You can hit enemies on either side of you with it, and it's phenomenal. That being said, that also means now you're limited, because, well, if you only have one good side for your unblockable heavies, that means for your unblockable lights to be effective, you kind of have to use that side too. You can do top and left, top and right with your unblockables, but if you only ever throw the heavy unblockable on the left side, well, it's a dead giveaway. Unfortunately, it's how it has to be. One really important thing about Zhanhu is you're going to have to throw a lot of attacks. Not like spam attacks, that's not what I mean. I mean, like, feinting with Zhanhu isn't as useful as you might think. It's useful if you think they're going to parry your heavy. Anything like that, yes, like, feint it. However, if you're using your unblockable lights as intended, to get damage in, to chip away at them, because they're nothing to ignore, they kind of hurt, then you really have to commit to a lot of your heavies. Even if it means you get parried, it happens. Your left attack will beat every dodge attack except for a couple that have really good iframes on them. You have to try. If you feint a lot of his heavies, you're going to find the hero is very slow, it's kind of staggered and weird, and he doesn't have any openers. If you throw more of those unblockable heavies, it will get better. But then you also have to mix in your lights. The dodge attacks, you have to be very careful when you use them. You can't dodge attack everything. There are several heroes like BP, Conqueror, Aramusha, and people with good reactions that can see it and just counter it entirely. It doesn't matter the side. It doesn't matter how well you mixed it up. You don't want to get into a habit of only dodging with the heavy. You want to mix up with the light too, and vice versa. So he also has a deflect, and the deflect is a weird bit of criticism. Nothing's guaranteed off deflect. However, there's 4 main things you can do out of it. You can, like, the quickest and easiest one to do is an unblockable light. That's pretty simple. That's very hard to react to. The more deflects you do, I think the more effective the deflect becomes in that bout. If you deflect with the unblockable light, you can then go for maybe another unblockable light and then an unblockable heavy. There are 4 things you can do for after that. You can do your unblockable light, your unblockable heavy, you can do a guard break / heavy unblockable feint, or you can do your zone attack. You could also do nothing, which is a weird big PP move, but you can do nothing as well. None of these are guaranteed, but they're all useful in context. You have to make a read when you do that. And the easiest ones to keep you from making a read, your left heavy unblockable, and your zone attack. Those are the the safest ones and the ones that are most likely to work as far as reads go, because they encompass a lot of things. If they dodge attack, both those things will counter that. If they just zone, they'll counter that as well. It's more about your ability to read your opponent and predict what they're gonna do. That being said, you don't have to use a deflect. It's not necessary. You can parry, you can be just fine. You can never use a deflect, and you'll be okay. Now, you're not able to delay his side dodge attacks much at all. Very, very small window. However, your forward ones, whew, you can delay those almost till it's weird. As you see in the footage, delaying almost to the point of it looking like an empty dodge, and all of a sudden an attack comes out. It's crazy. Speaking of that maneuver, that's a very quick snipe you've got, and it's got decent range. Mix in your heavy with it. Same thing as the unblockable heavies. Sometimes you gotta commit to it so you can get good damage on people trying to parry your light that didn't come out. You'll see that's a pattern a lot with his heroes. That's you have to commit to a lot of things in order to get the most out of him. There's not a lot of feinting and safety with this hero. It's like a gambler. You really have to gamble for a lot of these reads. It does pay off. I enjoy this hero a lot, and he can get some really good work done. His punches are a little complex. They're a little weird because you have to watch your stamina and be very, very careful. If your enemy's stamina is not going to come back in time, and you parry, it is zone into heavy. If it is going to come back in time, so like halfway regen and up, it's light into heavy finisher. That's on parry. On guard break, thrown to left or right, 2 side heavies. Zhanhu has a weird place in the meta, quote unquote. In duels, he's kind of subpar. He doesn't counter a lot of heroes, and he's not normally very viable, even though I do enjoy playing him. Where Zhanhu shines the most is in real 2s, so 2v2, fighting each other at once, and 4s. That's where he really shines. His feats are alright. I won't go into that because it's not really my thing. But I do a lot of real 2s and do a lot of duels. So that's what I know the best. And his ability in 2s is kind of complicated. As long as you do your left attack, you can mess up people. You can use your unblockable lights to chip away at people that are fighting your friends, and it doesn't give a lot of revenge. You can do it, you can just snipe it in there. You can, as far as like target swapping, it's very useful for that, to be fighting this one person, throw a light, and just turn it whack, and just hit him with a real quick unblockable light. If you're dealing with multiple people, as in like they're around you more, your left's heavy will hit so many people. However, you're gonna hit your teammate a lot. That's the caveat I would say to that. There's not a good way to fight in 2s with Zhanhu and not hit your enemy, not hit your friendly sometimes. So keep that in mind. He does do really good damage. 35 damage that you can't do anything against is really nice, and it's very safe. It covers all the way around you. Your zone also covers all the way around you. You have 2 attacks that you can come back to consistently to protect your flanks and your front at all times. But you're still going to hit your teammate. I cannot emphasize that enough. That's as good as it gets. Unfortunately, the hero's just a little bit weak right now. However, hopefully this guide gave you some ideas, maybe pointed you in the right direction. And I hope you enjoyed. Much love. Guard out.